Hi guys, I wanted to talk to you a little bit tonight about how to use a source once you've discovered a good source. So, I decided for the topic tonight that I would research the price of college and how it was increasing. So, I did a search for the skyrocketing cost of college, and what I discovered is this really great article on Forbes magazine's website. So I'm going to walk through this article and how you would find information that would be helpful for you as you're using the article for your research process. Okay. So, for example, this article is from Forbes.com, which is a reliable source when we're talking about financial concerns. It was published, as you can see, in 2018. So if you look right here, you can see the publication date. And the title is The Price of College Increasing at Almost 8 Times Faster Than Wages. So what I'm going to do is copy all of this information, including the contributor. And I'm going to open a Google Doc because that's where I'm saving all my information and doing my information. And I'm going to paste the information for the article, which is going to include the title and it's going to include the author. And I don't really need that picture, although, he seems like a super nice guy. And then I'm going to go back to the Forbes website and I'm going to copy the full source information, the web address, because I feel like that might be something helpful I'm going to need later when I'm doing my citation. And then in addition to that, the last thing I'm going to copy from the website is the date of publication, which you can see right here. I don't need the time, so I don't have to copy that. But I'm going to copy this information as well, and I'm going to include it with my citation. So this just gives me some basic information that I can go back and use when I'm going to actually gather and put together my citation for this article, should I choose to actually use it in the body of my paper. All right. So again, just helpful to do that at the outset so that you have the information that you need going forward. Now, what I'm going to do then is pull some research notes. And we talked about this a few days ago, where a really helpful thing to do is insert a table. And the beginning of the table can be the source note, which might include the quote, or if you needed to, a brief summary. And then on the other side, your thoughts about the quote, because those thoughts will be helpful to kind of form the research as you're writing your paper. All right, so let's go back to Forbes. Now, let me scan through this article. So this is going to talk about the cost of college, and I see an image there, and we know the cost of college is skyrocketing. So I'm just going to keep scanning. Something about baby boomers and Gen Xers. All right, got it. There's this really cool graphic that I might be able to summarize or use, but I don't know how reliable the FinanceTwins.com is. So we'll see if that's going to be helpful. Ooh, here's something about millennials facing record levels of student debt. This seems really helpful though. How much does a 4-year undergraduate degree actually cost? So maybe this statistic would be one that I feel like I'm going to pull in. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it in my source note. Now, I might decide that I don't want to use that, but it just looks like it might be a helpful piece of information initially. So I'm going to keep scanning. Oh, this really looks helpful. The average for a 4-year institution comes out to this cost, and that the total is $104,480 over the course of 4 years. And it's comparable to the cost in 1989. So they make that comparison for me. So if I'm really trying to articulate that the cost of college has gone up exponentially, that is definitely something that I could use. And that's something that, because it's so precise, I might decide that I'm going to quote it rather than paraphrase or summarize it. So it's another piece of information that looks really helpful for me. How have wages grown? I don't know that I'm necessarily going to make the wage argument or talk about wages, so I think I'm going to scan through that stuff. What is the impact of the disconnect? That becomes really important, because it's really important to understand personal finance. And is it actually beneficial for me to go get a 4-year degree? For some jobs, it certainly is. For other jobs, maybe it's not. And how much is that debt worth to me is something I might want to think about. So, I'm not necessarily going to give advice. I'm going to scroll. I think I'm going to go back up here with a college degree being a requirement, and it can put you at a disadvantage. Although, however, I think I like all of this information. I don't know that I'm going to quote it per se, but I think it might be something I could paraphrase. So I'm going to put it in my notes page because it might be something I come back to. So you see how I didn't take everything out of that Forbes article. I just pulled out the pieces that I thought might be especially helpful as I'm gathering and starting to write my paper. So as you go through a source and you're deciding what information is helpful, how much are you going to use that source, this is just a really easy way for you to pull together information, and then you can spiral back to it and determine how useful is that information, or do you want to actually paraphrase it? Do you want to quote it? Are you going to include it at all? But it just gives you some basics that you can use as you're pulling together the research. So if you have any questions, feel free to kind of watch the video again. Obviously over here, what I would do is process how I might use that information in my paper. So am I going to paraphrase it? Am I going to quote it? What do I think about it? How is it going to help me inform and explain the information that I'm trying to present on my paper, whatever my thesis is, all right? So I'm going to call this research notes for my topic. Let's see, my topic was the skyrocketing cost of college. And then if I have done what Mrs. Kixmiller told me to do, and I've made a folder either on my desktop or a folder in my Google Notes or my OneDrive, I'm going to add this to that folder so that I have those notes and I know where they are. It would be helpful for you to do this with all 7 of your sources so that you can determine what information is going to be most helpful as you build your paper. All right? Guys, if you have any questions, make sure that you ask me. Feel free to email or touch base. Otherwise, start getting to the business of taking your notes from your sources.